Tuesday, November 18, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless. Nick tells Victor about Matt Clark, Adam and Victor plot, and Jack warns Nikki. In Los Angeles, Nick's on the phone with Victor, back at the ranch, telling him that Noah's left the hospital against advice and dismissed his guard. He reveals that his son has been having an affair with Sienna Bacall. If they're not together, it's possible that he's in real trouble. Victor promises to relay this to Michael Baldwin. Victor learns from Nick that Matt Clark is back. He wants revenge on him and Sharon, and is using their son to get it. The mustache is stunned to hear that Matt is Mitch. They told Noah, but he kicked them out of the room and now he's missing. Mentioning that Detective Burrows may be on Matt's payroll, Victor will have Baldwin look into them both. Nikki, meanwhile, spots Lily at Society, and they have an exchange about Noah. Lily steps away to take a call from Maddie, and admits she's been talking to her dad, who is trying to be the man they remember. Unfortunately, she says, it ended on a more complicated note. What's Kane up to? At that very moment, in Phyllis' suite, she grabs Ashby and says she wants this. Doffing his shirt, Kane begins undressing her, and they keep making out. They wrestle and throw each other up against the door before falling onto the bed to continue the grappling. After say ***X, Phyllis quips, slow burn becomes big fire. They discuss the event being a matter of when and not if, spar verbally, and joke. Kane asks, what happens next? She shrugs. That's up to him. They banter about the past, and Kane invites her to the shower. When she heads in before him, his expression makes it clear that he's been play acting. Kane searches the room while keeping up a chat with Phyllis. Already in the shower, finding her laptop, he tries to guess her password. When she calls out and he doesn't come, Phyllis creeps out, sees what he's doing, and returns to the shower, warning, it's getting cold. Kane closes the laptop, sighing, and joins her. Which power players are making moves? Back at Society, Jack meets up with Nikki, who gripes about Kane. Jack worries that he'll reel Lily back in across the room. Lily tries to convince her daughter that her father's not all bad. It doesn't work. Meanwhile, Jack complains to Nikki about Victor. Will she stand by him if he damages people she cares about? At some point, she's complicit. Nikki vows she'll do what she can to keep him from harming Jabot. Jack needs to know that the company his father built will last, and warns that Victor better be careful this doesn't all come back to bite him. They'd both like to have another truce between their families. At the ranch, Victor welcomes Lily, who asks point blank if he stole Kane's program and notes how relaxed he seems, concluding that she's right. The mustache is surprised too. Hear that she's grateful, but warns that the program is very dangerous and should be destroyed. Using it would be very evil. Victor assures her he wouldn't go after Winters Inc., but admits Jabot is a different story. Adam arrives, so Lily leaves. Victor and Adam marvel that she's somehow sympathetic to Ashby now. Talk turns to Matt Clark, and Victor fills his younger son in on the maniac. The mustache wants him to compile a list of Clark's crimes and find out how he became Mitch Bacall. Adam offers to back up Nick in LA, which pleases Victor, though he tells him to hold off. Adam then updates Victor that Billy and Sally's funding is coming from Jill. In Los Angeles, Nick and Sharon reconvene in a hotel room to update each other. They're sure Noah and Sienna are together. Or Matt has one or both of them and he wants them to pay. Nick decides to get a hold of the cop. When Burrow calls him back, he arranges to meet, but tells Sharon she can't go with him. The final scenes at the ranch. Victor marvels at Jill backing Billy's Abbott communications. Adam wonders if Victor can convince her to cut the funding. Then they can sabotage the launch. Victor muses, while the Abbotts deal with the fallout. I'm going after Jabot. At the club, Lily looks at her phone, thinking about contacting Kane, as she flashes back to him saying he'll do anything to get her back. She decides against it and heads for the door, just in time to see Kane and Phyllis come down the stairs together, holding hands. In Genoa City, secrets rarely stay buried for long, and when they surface, they detonate lives with the force of a soap-sized nuclear blast. This week's explosive arc centered on Kane Ashby, whose impulsive decisions and bruised ego pulled him into a dangerous emotional storm. After a moment of weakness with Phyllis, Kane found himself spiraling into a confession he wasn't prepared to make. And Lily, caught in the crossfire, received a reality check she never imagined. This is the full, dramatic unraveling of how a single night of passion turned into a tsunami threatening the stability of multiple Genoa City families, the Winters, the Newmans, the Abbotts, and even the red-haired hurricane herself. A night that shouldn't have happened. Kane Ashby has always carried a mix of charm and insecurity under his polished exterior. Once the devoted husband, the mild-mannered father, and the dependable coup, he now finds himself drifting. The collapse of his marriage, the unraveling family dynamics, and his ongoing struggle with self-worth created a perfect storm. Enter Phyllis Summers. Phyllis is fire, unapologetic, impulsive, vindictive, addictive. She's known for pulling men into her orbit like a red comet passing too close to Earth. But this time, the gravity was mutual. She wanted comfort. Kane wanted validation. And both wanted, desperately, to feel alive again. One drink led to two. Sarcasm turned into flirting. Flirting turned into vulnerability. And vulnerability, in classic Genoa City fashion, turned into a decision they could not undo. Their night together wasn't tender. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't even planned. It was raw, reckless, and fueled by emotional chaos neither fully acknowledged. When Kane woke up and saw Phyllis beside him, reality hit like cold water. Phyllis, however, wore her usual mask, a sly smile that hid the trembling beneath. The weight of guilt sets in. Guilt is Kane's oldest companion. It chased him through the Chloe baby switch, through his lies to Lily, through Hillary's storyline, and through every moment where he felt less than the man he pretended to be. And now, guilt decided to make itself comfortable once again. He tried to leave Phyllis sweet quietly, but she called out his name, half taunting, half concerned. Phyllis didn't regret what happened, at least not outwardly. She had bigger battles to fight, but she knew Kane wasn't built like her. He cracked, she sharpened. Relax, she said. We're two adults who made a bad decision. No one needs to know. Kane wanted to believe her, but Kane also wanted absolution. And absolution rarely comes quietly. Lily's new strength, and new blind spots while Kane was drowning in guilt. Lily Winters was thriving in ways that made her almost unrecognizable to those who knew her before. She had grown hardened by heartbreak, strengthened by independence, sharpened by her time away. She was building her own identity, establishing her own voice. And, for the first time in a long while, she wasn't defining herself through Kane's needs. But growth comes with blind spots. And Lily believed that Kane was on a new path, one she could cautiously trust. That was about to change. Kane's breakdown begins, unable to contain his anxiety. Kane headed straight to the one place he should have avoided. Crimson lights. His mind raced, thoughts tangled, guilt spinning. His hands shook when he picked up his coffee, and he saw Lily walk in. His entire world dropped to his feet. Lily smiled, warm, hopeful, unaware of the emotional bomb about to go off. She touched his arm, asking how he was doing, if the kids had called, if he had eaten. Her kindness only heightened his guilt. He opened his mouth, and the confession he desperately tried to silence clawed its way up his throat. I need to tell you something. Lily froze. Kane immediately regretted speaking, but his guilt won. Kane exposes himself. Kane's voice trembled, but once he began, he couldn't stop. He confessed the entire night, the flirting, the vulnerability, the hotel room, the say **X with Phyllis. He delivered every detail with the emotional rawness of a man who knew he was about to lose everything all over again. Lily's face turned, from confusion, to disbelief, to betrayal, to numb acceptance. Kane braced for a slap, a scream, an explosion. But Lily didn't do any of those. Instead, she drew in a long breath and whispered, "You didn't expose yourself to me. You exposed who you really are." Those words shattered Kane more than any yell could have. Lily's reality check hits hard. Lily spent years forgiving Kane. Forgiving the lies, the infidelity, the broken promises. But she had grown past the version of herself who tolerated emotional instability disguised as love. This time, she didn't collapse. She didn't question what she did wrong. She didn't beg him to prove her wrong. She looked at Kane through new eyes, the eyes of a woman finally prioritizing her own peace. Kane, I don't know what you want me to say. You're hurting, you're lost, and you're clinging to anything that makes you feel worthy. That's not love. And that's not something I can save you from anymore. Lily's reality check was not just for Kane, it was for herself. She acknowledged that love doesn't heal someone who doesn't want to heal themselves. That history doesn't guarantee future. And that her life is no longer defined by fixing Kane. Phyllis faces the fallout. Phyllis wasn't surprised when Lily confronted her. In fact, she almost seemed prepared, as if she'd played this game 100 times and knew every outcome. Lily wasn't there to fight her. She was there to tell Phyllis one thing. You didn't break my marriage. Kane did. And he'll break himself again if he doesn't change. Phyllis blinked, shaken by Lily's composure. This wasn't the insecure Lily she used to spar with, this was a Lily who had reclaimed her dignity. And that, more than anything, rattled Phyllis because it reminded her of the choices she continued to make for all the wrong reasons. Cain confronts his demons. Cain spiraled, not because Lily rejected him, but because Lily didn't react the way he expected. He wanted anger, tears, drama, something to justify his guilt, but instead, Lily's calm truth exposed something deeper. Cain was sabotaging himself. He sought validation in all the wrong places. He sought comfort in chaos, and he sought intimacy not out of desire, but out of loneliness. This realization sent Cain on a path of introspection he had avoided for years. He confronted his insecurity, his self-loathing, his fear of inadequacy, and it terrified him. But it was also the first step toward truly healing. Lily moves forward. Not backward. Lily focused on her work, her family, and her own growth. She refused to let Cain's choices derail her progress. Her strength was not cold, it was compassionate. She wished Cain well. But she no longer carried responsibility for his mistakes. She shared a moment with Devon, who hugged her tightly and reminded her she deserved peace. She told Nate she wasn't falling apart. She was finally standing on her own. And she told Cain, in their final emotional conversation, "I don't hate you. I just can't keep losing myself trying to love you." Phyllis reassesses her own path. Phyllis rarely reflects, but Lily's reaction forced her to. She realized she used Cain as a distraction from her own loneliness, her own fear of emotional intimacy, her own self-sabotage, and in a twist that shocked even her, Phyllis apologized, not for sleeping with Cain, but for choosing the kind of intimacy that left both of them emptier. The apology didn't fix anything, but it marked growth, a small, rare moment of clarity that hinted she might be ready for a healthier direction. The ripple effects across Genoa City. The scandal spread. The murmurs began. Jill confronted Cain. Devon supported Lily. Billy teased Phyllis but warned her to stop. Self-destructing. Victoria raised an eyebrow. Jack sighed at another Phyllis mess. Even Abby got pulled into gossip about it at society. Each reaction added another layer to the drama, showing just how intertwined everyone's lives were. A painful ending, but a powerful beginning in the end. Cain didn't lose Lily because he cheated, he lost Lily because she finally found herself, and Cain didn't destroy himself by sleeping with Phyllis, he did it by refusing to face his emotional wounds until it was too late. Phyllis, for once, didn't fully explode anyone's life, but she became the mirror that reflected the truth Cain had long avoided. This storyline, explosive as it was, became one of the most emotionally layered Y&R arcs in recent memory, not because of the affair, but because of the journey each character took through heartbreak, accountability, and growth. Final thoughts. Love, regret, and reinvention. Genoa City thrives on drama, heartbreak, and unexpected alliances. But beneath the chaos lies something quieter: transformation. Cain learned that healing requires honesty. Lily learned that love should not cost self-respect. Phyllis learned that distraction isn't connection. And the viewers learned that sometimes the most dramatic moment isn't the betrayal, it's the clarity that follows. On the weeks to come, these emotional aftershocks will continue shaping relationships, alliances, and personal journeys throughout the show. And if history is any indication, nothing stays quiet in Genoa City for long.